Your relationships are not failing by accident. There are some reasons behind it that are holding you back from having a successful relationship. After analyzing dozens of relationship case studies, books, and articles, I was able to notice similar patterns and identify the key reasons behind relationship failures. And in this video, I am going to reveal the most common reasons for relationship failure. If you find yourself always on the losing side of the relationship and yet you don't know why, stick to the end because your concerns will be answered. 1. Trust issues. Trust is at the heart of every relationship. Whether you're in a new relationship or have been with your partner for years, trust is the glue that holds everything together. But what happens when that trust starts to crack? Lack of trust is like a silent poison in a relationship. It doesn't just harm. It spreads, contaminating everything it touches. Without trust, you lose two vital pillars: safety and security. These are the anchors that keep your relationship steady, no matter what storms you face. But trust issues aren't always black and white. They can sneak in through jealousy, possessiveness, or even a simple nagging feeling that something isn't right. Maybe it's emotional infidelity, a partner who's always just a bit too vague, or someone who's let you down one too many times. Trust issues can be rooted in real, tangible evidence, like broken promises, or they might stem from our own fears and insecurities. But either way, the impact is the same. Your relationship starts to feel shaky and unstable, like it could crumble at any moment. So, if you're wondering why your relationship feels off, ask yourself, is it a lack of trust? And more importantly, where is that lack of trust coming from? Is it something concrete, or was it born out of doubt and fear? Relationships built on mistrust are like houses built on sand. They might stand for a while, but eventually they collapse. And when they do, it's usually beyond repair. Trust is the foundation of love, and without it, your relationship is at risk. So if you feel that trust slipping away, it's time to address it before it's too late. 2. Difference in priorities. Conflicting priorities in relationships is a topic that hits close to home for many of us. Ever felt like you and your partner were just not on the same page anymore? At the start of a relationship, everything feels aligned. You're drawn together by physical attraction, shared interests, and maybe even similar backgrounds. But as time goes on, the realities of life start to creep in, and those initial sparks can begin to fade. As life's demands grow, so do your individual needs and aspirations. When your goals start to diverge, it's no longer about us. It's about me versus you. This shift in focus is one of the silent killers of relationships. So, if you're noticing that you and your partner have different visions for the future, it's time to take a step back. Ask yourselves, are we still on the same path? Or are we heading in different directions? Remember, every relationship requires alignment, not just at the start, but throughout the entire journey. If your priorities are shifting apart, it might be time to realign or reconsider what you both truly want. 3. Compatibility issues. Compatibility is one of the most crucial elements of any relationship. You've probably heard that opposites attract, but what happens when those differences start to create friction? Compatibility in a relationship goes far beyond sharing the same hobbies or liking the same music. It's about being aligned where it truly matters: your values, your life goals, and how you connect with each other on a deeper level. Let's be clear. Values are not the same as interests. Sure, enjoying the same activities can bring you together initially, but it's your core values that will either keep you together or drive you apart in the long run. Imagine this. One of you values family and dreams of having kids, while the other isn't so sure. Or maybe one of you is a saver and the other is a spender. These differences aren't just minor disagreements. They're fundamental clashes that, if left unresolved, can tear a relationship apart. Opposites might attract, but without compromise and open dialogue, those differences can become massive roadblocks. If you're not willing to meet in the middle, those differences will only grow, creating a rift that's hard to bridge. Some couples struggle with compatibility because they're holding on to superficial differences that don't really matter. But when you start feeling uncomfortable or out of place in your partner's company, it's a sign that something deeper is off. Feeling uneasy around your partner isn't just frustrating. It can be a relationship killer. If you're not comfortable with each other, those feelings of discomfort will only grow, eventually tearing the relationship apart. So, how do you build a relationship on a solid foundation? It starts with being honest about your values and making sure they align. It's about being compatible where it counts, not just on the surface, but in your hearts and minds. 4. Financial conflicts. Money is a topic that can make or break a relationship. It's no secret that finances can cause friction between partners, but did you know that financial incompatibility is one of the leading causes of relationship breakdowns? The longer you're together, the more likely financial differences will emerge. Whether you're married or not, money has a way of digging up some of our deepest fears and insecurities: trust, safety, control, even survival. Research shows that disagreements over money are one of the top reasons couples split up. And it's not just about how much you have, it's about how you manage it, how you view it, and how those views impact your relationship. Money issues aren't just about dollars and cents, they're tied to your core beliefs and values. For some, money represents security. For others, it's about freedom or power. When those beliefs clash, it can create tension, resentment, and eventually, a complete breakdown in the relationship. So, how do you avoid letting money tear your relationship apart? It starts with open, honest conversations. You need to talk about financial expectations early on, how you'll contribute, save, spend, and even how you'll handle debt. If you're not on the same page, those differences will only grow over time. Think about it. Money taps into our most basic needs: trust, safety, and control. If you're not aligned on how to manage it, those needs can quickly turn into sources of conflict. Remember, financial compatibility isn't just about avoiding fights. It's about building a future together. When you're aligned with money, you're aligned with life. So don't let financial differences drive a wedge between you and your partner. 5. Communication issues. One of the biggest reasons relationships fail is poor communication. We all know communication is important, but did you know that it's often the number one reason couples seek therapy and one of the top causes of breakups and divorces? Communication isn't just about talking. It's about truly understanding your partner. When communication breaks down, so does the connection between you. And when that happens, conflicts start to arise, leading to distance, resentment, and eventually the end of the relationship. One of the most toxic forms of poor communication is contempt. Contempt is the opposite of respect, and it shows up in those moments of harsh criticism, sarcasm, or negative judgment toward your partner. In communication studies, this is known as being tough on the person, soft on the issue, and it's like poison for your relationship. When you communicate with contempt, you're not just arguing. You're attacking the very worth of the person you're supposed to care about. This kind of communication doesn't just hurt in the moment. It slowly destroys the foundation of your relationship. But it's not just about avoiding contempt. Effective communication is about being open, asking questions, and understanding each other's conflict management styles. If you can't communicate openly and honestly, your relationship will struggle to move beyond the initial stages. Communication is the key to resolving conflicts, understanding your partner's perspective, and building a healthy relationship that works for both of you. It's not just about talking. It's about listening, empathizing, and connecting on a deeper level. Remember, there is no relationship without communication. If you're struggling to communicate effectively, it's time to take a step back and really focus on how you're interacting with your partner. Open up, be honest, and most importantly, show respect. Because without respect, communication breaks down, and so does the relationship. 6. Ego issues. The ego is a hidden but powerful force that can silently destroy relationships. It's something we all have, and if we're not careful, it can take control, leading to conflict, misunderstandings, and ultimately, the breakdown of our most important connections. Ego is that voice inside us that screams, "I'm right, you're wrong." It's the part of us that craves recognition for our contributions while dismissing the efforts of others. But when ego takes the wheel, it's not just your feelings that are at risk, it's your entire relationship. We often throw around the term ego in casual conversation, but let's get real. It's one of the biggest enemies of any relationship. Whether it's with your spouse, your parents, your friends, or your colleagues, ego can sneak in and turn every little disagreement into a battleground. At the core of so many relationship issues is ego. When we let it take control, we prioritize our own needs and desires, ignoring how our actions affect those around us. This is where the problems start: difficulty accepting criticism, an inability to apologize, and an unwillingness to compromise. Think about it. How often have you found it hard to apologize because it felt like admitting defeat? That's ego talking. It convinces us that saying, "I'm sorry," is a sign of weakness when, in reality, it's a sign of strength and maturity. Ego also makes it tough to compromise. When we're too attached to our own ideas, it's hard to see anyone else's point of view. We dig in our heels, convinced that our way is the only way, and in the process, we lose empathy for the person on the other side. And when empathy is lost, so is the relationship. We become so focused on our own needs that we forget the feelings of those we care about. Over time, this creates distance and pushes people away, leaving us isolated in our own self-importance. But it doesn't stop there. Ego clouds our judgment, making it impossible to be objective. We start making decisions based on what feels good to us, rather than what's best for everyone involved. This lack of objectivity leads to poor choices, missed opportunities, and ultimately regret. So how do we keep our egos from destroying our relationships? It starts with self-awareness, recognizing when ego is taking over and consciously choosing to step back, listen, and consider others' perspectives. It's about finding the balance between self-respect and respect for others, and understanding that real strength lies in humility, empathy, and the ability to compromise. Relationships aren't easy, but they don't have to fail. By understanding these common pitfalls, trust issues, conflicting priorities, compatibility problems, financial conflicts, poor communication, and unchecked ego, you can take control and build a stronger, more resilient relationship. Don't let these issues be the end of your story. Communicate openly, stay aligned, and remember that real strength lies in humility and understanding. Your relationship deserves it.